Live from the studio of his parents' basement, the Have You Seen It podcast.
Hello and welcome back to the Have You Seen It podcast. My name is Mason Knight. Sitting across from me is the one and only Cash Krause. But before we begin, you guys could please be sure to smash that like button, comment below, subscribe to the channel, and hit that bell notification as we drop videos here every single day. So with that said, Cash, what are we reviewing today?
Oh, this is a fun one. Today we are reviewing, I think, if not the biggest box office flop of 2021.
I think you would be right in your analysis there.
Okay. I know it's close with some other films, but this one was a big stinker at the box office.
At the box office, not a stinker of a film.
No, it does not
need to
reflect the
clarify
quality
that.
of the
Yes.
film. I am saying it half jokingly because it is better than most films of this year.
It's even better than House of Gucci, which...
Oh my God, it was 10 times better than House
another
of Gucci,
Ridley
in my
Scott
opinion.
film.
This film was butchered by Disney, who did not want to put out any advertisements for it because it was the acquisition of Fox. We're talking about The Last Duel, directed by Ridley Scott, the second film of this year, directed by 98-year-old Ridley Scott. I don't know how old that guy is.
Crazy.
But he's getting
I think he's 83.
He's getting meaner every year, that's for sure.
Or he's 84 now, yeah.
Yeah, crotchety old man at this point. But man, can he make an historical drama? I think it's his sweet spot.
Well, and
honestly.
it's super impressive. Guys like Scorsese and Ridley Scott, who are in their 80s,
and are making
directing
more films than they have ever made. Yeah. Some people, I don't blame anyone for being retired at 80 for one.
Absolutely not. No.
But some people get older and realize they have less time and just kick it into high gear and be like, oh, there's shit that I have wanted to make my entire life that I have not been able to make.
And then, time's ticking. Like in your head, when you're 80, you're like, hey, you're doing the math. You're lucky to make it to 90.
Yeah, but that does not make them any less mean or angry at the world. They are still old people, and they are angry.
Yeah, or apparently less talented because, you had saw The Last Duel before I did, and I saw House of Gucci first. I thought it was decent. I thought it was okay. Obviously, we had our problems with it. We reviewed it. But this film was really, really good.
Yeah,
and,
like I said.
Also made me feel a lot of uncomfortableness for rehashing it out over and over and over. I mean, that's what they did. They rehashed it 3 times, just the rape scene,
Oh, yeah. It's based on the 2000 book of The Last Duel, a true story of trial by combat in medieval France. It is written by, this is interesting as well, co-written by Ben Affleck and Matt Damon, the second film that they have co-written together since Good Will Hunting.
Yeah.
Which is... They could possibly win another Oscar for screenplay for this film. Mm-hmm. Best adapted screenplay would be this time. But yeah, they also star in the film as well. And like I said, directed by Ridley Scott. Also stars Adam Driver, his second film to be directed by Ridley Scott of the year, because he was in...
Also House of Gucci.
as well, yeah.
Worked with Scott a lot.
Yeah, it was a Ridley Scott year for Adam Driver, for sure. Spent a lot of time with Ridley Scott.
I don't know how your opinions are on Adam Driver, but I love seeing this guy on film.
I think
he's
you
a
do
great
know
actor.
my opinions. I love Adam Driver. I've talked about it.
Well, some people don't like him.
Who?
So I can name a few. There's a few people who do not think he's a very good actor.
What?
Yes,
That's one. He's a great actor. I've never seen him in anything bad. I think
Marriage Story was one of the best performances I saw that year.
Yeah, how could you not say he's a good actor? If anything, he's a good actor. Maybe people don't like him because of Star Wars, but he was arguably the best part of Star Wars.
Yes.
He was by far, I think, the best acting of the new group of Star Wars people.
Oh, unquestionably. Yeah.
Yeah. He's great in everything. I even liked him in House of Gucci, and I didn't like House of Gucci very much. So
he nailed the accent, though. The Gucci.
Oh my God, dude! Did you see? What's the comedian that does the podcast with Bert Kreischer?
Tom Segura.
You see, he walked out of House of Gucci.
Did he really?
He said that he thought the Italian accents were so fucking bad. He said he walked out like 10 minutes after. Yeah, but yeah, The Last Duel, like I said, Ridley Scott, he's always been great at historical fucking dramas. He's very good at getting the accuracy down. Gladiator is amazing. His director's cut of what's the film he did? The Last Kingdom.
The Last Kingdom with
Orlando Bloom. That film wasn't good, but his director's cut of the film
was awesome.
They're two different films, but
which they had to cut that down for whatever. But I think the director's cut's close to 5 hours.
Yeah, well, they had to cut it down. Like, what reason you can't have a 5 hour film.
You can't have a 5 hour film. Yeah, should have been a mini series.
But yeah, this is. I don't think he really has it anymore with the sci-fi, but just keep doing historical dramas, Ridley Scott.
Yeah, well, he might not anymore after this bombing. Those damn kids and their cell phones.
The
Did you hear what he said?
Yeah, of course. We got to talk about that. Yeah.
He blamed it on kids being on their
Of course,
phones.
he didn't blame it on the real reason, which was Disney. Of course, you can't blame it on. You can't bite the hand that feeds.
If you ever want to work again, yeah. Disney can do no wrong if you're trying to make film.
Yeah, Disney, if you don't know, this was delayed during COVID and whatnot, and Disney was in the middle of buying Fox, and they bought this one as well as Nightmare Alley, and they butchered Nightmare Alley as well.
Yeah, they did.
But yeah, they didn't. I knew so many people who didn't even know this film existed. That's pretty rare when it's like, hey, I just saw The Last Duel. People were like, The Last Duel?
What's that? Yeah. Well, think about the trailer reactions. You know, when we did initially react to this, you're like, let's do The Last Duel. I'm like, what is The Last Duel? I've never heard of it.
Yeah.
And then we looked it up to do a trailer reaction. I go, oh my God, I'm really excited for this. No advertising whatsoever on this film. Didn't see it on a single trailer, single preview, any of the banners or anything on IMDb. It was blank. No advertising. So you are right. The fault lies primarily with, lack of promotion.
Yeah, oh, for sure. That's the parent company. That's Disney, absolutely. Which is crazy that you would sink $100 million into a film and then not give it the proper advertisement. Yeah. Especially when you have, you have actors of multiple generations of huge. You have Ben Affleck, Matt Damon, and Adam Driver. Yeah. So you have generational actors, and you can't advertise for this. You can't throw up a goddamn single bumper trailer or something. But yeah, Ridley Scott was not about to give the blame to the real culprit. He was millennials for some reason, which
those goddamn millennials.
I can't imagine this film being geared towards anyone in 20s anyways. Why not? Why is he not blaming the 30 to 60-year-olds that didn't go out and see this fucking film? Because no one saw this film.
No one did. Yeah, well, I think he was just trying to take his anger out on something.
I know, but
he knew he couldn't go the Disney route, so he's like, I'm going to blame it on those damn kids.
Yeah, but then blame it on adults, too,
Right.
Adults didn't go out in droves to see this either, but anyways, despite all that, it's a great film, unfortunately.
It really is.
People should have seen it. It's brutal. The war scenes are brutal. The book is told in a way that the movie is told as it's 3 different characters, same story, but each told by their perspective 3 different ways. And like you said, it does fuck with your head because, for one, it's the last duel. It takes place in the 16th century, where it's the last trial by combat, or one of the last. There was actually one after that.
Technically there was one. The last one was like in 1547.
Yeah, but one of the last duels.
Yeah, one of the
They
last
couldn't
ones.
call it one of the last duels.
It doesn't come off the tongue very well.
Second to the last duel.
Second to the last duel. No, let's just go with the last duel.
And it's the story about a nobleman's wife who claims to be raped by another nobleman, and to figure out if he did or not, trial by combat.
Why not?
It's so easy.
There were so many funny moments, which unironically funny, but my favorite moment of this is when she's on trial, right?
Oh, it's brutal.
Well, yeah, and that part's not funny, but I'll get to what part I laughed at, where they started asking.
That's what I meant. That was brutal.
Yeah. The only way a woman can conceive is if she enjoyed it. So did you enjoy it? She goes, no. And he goes, it's science.
Yeah, that part was so... How confident that guy was.
He was so confident.
It's science.
It's science. It is impossible. It is irrefutable.
Yeah, it's science. And no one, the way he was so confident, no one refuted.
They're like, that guy knows what he's talking about.
That guy must be the scientist, the one of the village. Like, he's a genius. Yeah. But that whole thinking is just so
archaic
or barbaric.
Yeah.
That you can't be raped. If you were impregnated by the guy who raped you, it's not rape. You enjoyed it.
You enjoyed it.
Because the only way, God says the only way you can have a baby, conception, is if you enjoy it.
Right.
Crazy. And she just has to sit there and be like, I have to defend this? Like, what the fuck? It's science. Oh.
It was a great moment.
But there's so many scenes like that where it's like, holy fuck. I mean, it's
the times.
It's the woman. It's her that's like, it's the worst of everything.
Well, and that's not the worst of everything.
And her husband is an asshole too.
Oh no, he's an asshole.
That's what one thing I loved about it is no one was rooting for Matt Damon at the end.
No, and honestly, when he got stabbed in the leg, I was like, cool, he'll bleed out.
And everyone was like, yes.
Yeah.
Everyone. Even his wife was like, fuck that.
This guy's a lot to deal with.
But to go back a little bit, the courtroom scene when he's like telling her what will happen if he dies.
Yes, that's the worst part.
The worst death of all time.
Burning alive.
Well, it's multiple things first. First you get gutted or whatever, and then they're like, and then at the very end, we burn you alive.
And it could take up to 15 to 20 minutes.
He's like, longest time we got is half an hour. If you can beat that record.
It was quite the show, too. Hundreds of people in the village showed up to watch.
Half an hour. If I'm watching that, I'm leaving after 15 minutes.
Yeah, for sure.
I can't stand here all goddamn day and watch this bitch
death-curdling screams. No, I'm good.
I gotta go, guys. I gotta go to work.
Got a business meeting or something. I don't know.
Gotta
got
go.
better shit to do.
She may burn all day.
Yeah.
This is like the menorah. I mean, she could burn for 7 days for all we know. But yeah, that's, again, something Ridley Scott is so good at doing is like the period accurate battle scenes and how they fight and like the weapons they use, but how they use the weapons too. We're like, because I don't know if you've seen like realistic, like how knights fight or whatever, but it's like, it's almost like Dune where it's very slow. You got to like press the knife in and then kind of rip away.
Well, also because of so much armor too. So
that's what I'm saying. Yeah. So you have to like get it in a weak spot and then kind of slide it out. And it's brutal, but only knights are usually wearing armor. Right. So you can hack away at some archers.
Oh yeah. If you can get to them.
I know.
They don't shoot you first.
Yeah. But just the battle scenes in this movie are fucking brutal.
Yeah,
and
I really like the Creek one, where he's like, "No, we're not going," and of course, Matt Damon, he can't help himself.
Well, that was the start of giving bad impressions to Count Pierre.
Count Pierre, yes,
because they lost the battle because of that.
Yep.
Because remember that guy was hacking away at heads, and they're like, "We got to hold the battle." Also, the scene where he saves Adam Driver's character, his life. Which ends up coming into play a ton later, but it's a crazy time in medieval France.
It is. It is a wild time.
Land's being taken constantly, back and forth. You got to sue the guy, but the guy you're suing is cousins with the king. Mm-hmm. He's like, I'm the judge.
Well, then the dowry as well with the land, the property.
And then Lord Pierre took the land that he got from the dowry.
Yeah. Which is pretty fucked up. If the king didn't hate, if Jean wasn't such a miserable fuck, they might have actually allowed him to win that suit.
If he liked to party and he liked to fuck, like Adam Driver's character did,
he did. Like
people loved hanging out with Adam Driver's character.
He was the life of the party.
He was laid back.
He was.
Matt Damon was too serious.
Yeah, all the time.
Well,
remember, he comes in that one time and he goes, "This is the second time you have not addressed me as sir." I know. Because he's a knight, right?
And every time it's like when they're having a party.
Yeah. They're just all hanging out, having a good time.
The coolest time ever.
It's the biggest buzzkill every time.
I know. And he comes in.
But everything's an offense.
He's also always has a new wound. Because he looks like
just fucked up at all times.
He's hard to look at.
He is.
Which is in one reason probably don't invite him to parties that often. It's because he's an eyesore.
He is an eyesore and a buzzkill.
But besides that, he is a dick, though. A dick to his wife.
I love the different perspectives, too. Because his perspective in the room,
he was awesome.
Really nice and caring. Like, we're going to figure this out. And then her perspective,
his perspective was
he grabs her and be like, "Are you lying to me? Yeah. Everything's about me." You know what I mean? And it's just like, wow, you really see the difference.
Well, yeah, even the perspective of like him going and being like, "Yeah, I told him all this, but it was like super cool." And they were super understanding about it.
And then they go to the driver's perspective and he's yelling at him and freaking out. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, saying, he goes, "I'll sue everyone."
Everyone, yeah.
Like, what a bitch move. Even in medieval times, I guess that was his thing. That
I guess people just was like, "I'm mad at you. I'm going to try to sue you for something."
Even though the courts are so corrupt. I mean, if you're related to the king, you're gonna win every time.
Oh, absolutely. A little nepotism.
Oh, it's all nepotism.
Yes.
But yeah, Matt Damon, big fucking buzzkill. Does rock a killer mullet in this, though.
Does.
Kind of helps it.
And I gotta say, I really actually enjoyed his performance a lot.
Well, yeah, he's awesome.
Yeah.
An asshole nonetheless. But like you said, the different perspectives really made it. Because from his perspective, he was a great husband.
Yeah, he was.
But from her perspective, this
a
guy was
Yeah.
he was an abusive, very abusive fucking asshole.
You know, a few other subtle things and differences that I really appreciated and I actually looked for once I realized what was going on and they were showing multiple perspectives. A thing that I caught that was so intriguing to me was it was as simple as when Adam Driver showed up, alone, she's alone, and she goes up the stairs.
Yeah.
One perspective, which was the first one, she took her shoes off to walk upstairs. Her perspective was...
and you're about to get raped, you wouldn't lead him to the bedroom.
Right.
Oh.
Right. But in her perspective, she was running in fear and the shoes fell off her because she was running up the stairs. And I go, those are little subtle differences.
Ridley Scott, 89 years old, however the fuck he's old, he can still, the shooting, those scenes were so good because they were shot almost exactly alike.
Yes.
But even the scene where she like shuts the door, the one scene where she kind of wants it, she barely touches the door. Mm-hmm. Then the scene where she is legitimately getting raped, she slams the door and he blocks it. And there's so many of those subtle scenes, especially when she's like just laying on the bed versus when he's throwing her on the bed and she's
screaming at the top of her lungs, clearly.
Versus the other scene when she just goes, "Oh no!"
It's like, "Oh!"
and she yells just one time to see if anyone's there.
Was not the case on her side of the story at all.
I like that too.
Yeah.
And it's like at first it's not really well known that that's how the film will play out, those three different perspectives. So it's almost like you're rewatching multiple scenes and you're like, what the fuck's going on? But then you realize, because my first instance was like, oh, she didn't get raped at all.
Right. Well, you're right, because they only showed you one perspective.
She had so many other motives too, where that guy was taking her land.
Well, and they were also bookworms.
Yeah, but she couldn't have a baby. She needed to have a baby. So she was going to have it regardless because, you don't have a baby. You don't have a male heir in those days.
And in the very first perspective, too. And I know this is how Ridley Scott wanted to set it up, and that's why I think it's brilliant, especially the screenplay and everything. But they also set it up with them having a very good connection because they're both bookworms.
Yeah.
She, obviously she's literate, which is a huge deal to him. She's very smart, and they have really good chemistry back and forth.
Which could have been read a million different ways, that scene could have. That scene could have been read because she hadn't been out of the house for years at that point.
Right.
So
essentially locked up in that.
It could have been read as flirtatious, but it also could have been read as she's just so happy to be out of that she's happy to be talking about anyone.
Right.
So it was shot in a really
and her
good
husband's illiterate. Goodness gracious, I'm having a stroke over here.
Yeah.
Illiterate.
Oh God, he couldn't be any more illiterate. The guy was
anything.
Great. Yeah,
and they didn't connect on that same level that those two apparently did from his perspective.
Yeah, I mean it's a medieval time, so it's not like they had a romantic courting or anything. No. He just went up to her dad and was like, "Hey,
I'll marry her."
Like her, yeah.
And then
because no one wanted her because his dad, her dad, was a traitor.
Yeah. Well, and I love those two perspectives too between him and her, where when it was her perspective, he was talking to her, talking about her as if she was just like some piece of the puzzle.
Yeah.
Like she was nothing. Like, well, what does this come with?
And then he gets
you're
land,
a traitor.
And a part of his land gets taken. And it wasn't even his land a month ago. But he's so pissed. He starts suing everyone. Yeah. But yeah, I love how it was shot. It kept you guessing. You really had no clue who was the bad guy in this.
Yep. And this film was so dark that I did not know the story. I'm not going to sit here and lie. I'm not a historian. I did not know the story of this before this film. And what they did really well is give the different perspectives. But then at the end, I truly, because the film was so dark and there were so many like eerie, uncomfortable moments that I really thought this film could go either way. So like when I was watching that final battle scene, it was very enjoyable for me because I genuinely did not know who was going to win.
Oh, yeah. And you really didn't know who you wanted to win either.
Yeah.
I
mean, I was rooting a little more for Damon because one, she was raped, and 2, I didn't want to see her burned alive, preferably with a child.
But Adam Driver too was
between those two.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Yeah. I mean, there was no clear and cut bad guy or good guy. Matt Damon. There is a scene with Matt Damon where you fucking hate Matt Damon, and it's.
I think I know what one.
Well, it's right after she gets raped.
Exactly. I don't want to be the last man. That's exactly what I was going to say.
I will not have you been, or he will not be the last man who's taken you.
Who's taking you? Yeah.
Literally raped an hour ago.
Right. And he goes, well, I've got an ego to protect, so I'm not going to be, that's not going to be the last guy.
That's the scene where it's like, okay, fuck that guy. I don't even care if he lives, if he dies. In my hope, Adam Driver would win, and he'd be like, whoa, that's my son. You can't kill her. Let me take her as my wife or whatever. And he'd be like, save her at the fucking end.
But then would he be guilty?
Well, no, because trial by combat means if you win. So I thought, so I thought there was a way that she could have lived,
right?
Because everyone knew that was his son. Yeah. Even in the court, they're like 6 months. He raped you. Right. You got a kid for 5 years.
Except the science guy. The science guy was determined. Science. Everyone's like, oh, I guess we'll just go with the scientist. We don't know anything. Sure.
Well, the scientist didn't believe that she was raped.
No,
he believed that was Adam Driver's kid, but just not that he was raped. Yeah. Yeah, so I thought...
But the only way to conceive is if you enjoyed it.
But they knew that she had sex with him, or whatever, but
right.
They didn't know if it was rape or not. Yeah. Everyone, even Adam Driver didn't say... Adam Driver never said he didn't have sex with her. Mm-hmm. He just said that it wasn't rape. He told everyone. He's like, yeah.
She enjoyed it. That's what she wanted. She was leading me on.
Even though the way he gets into the house is the most suspect. He has to let some other guy lie about it.
You lie about
that scene was funny too. He's like, right when she lets that guy in, he goes, oh, and I'm with someone else.
And then he just stops the door, and I'm like, goodness. It's not going to end well.
That does not look good.
No.
It's not a good look for Adam Driver.
Well, then he tells him to piss off right afterwards. That should be a red flag.
Well, she yells at him to get out.
Yeah.
And then he goes, get out. Yeah, it's like I said, keeps you guessing for sure.
Yeah, it does.
But it's cool enough to where it's not like just a medieval melodrama or whatever. There's a lot of action sequences because it keeps going back to the action sequences, but told by different perspectives. Yeah. So you get brutal scenes all from the same battle, which is kind of cool. You don't see that in movies very often. No, you don't. But they cut some guys down, man.
They do.
It's that scene when...
And despite all of Damon's, Jean's...
he can't die in the battle.
Can't die. He's a very good knight.
That scene when they get ambushed in the forest or whatever, and literally arrows are just bouncing off him.
Every guy's dying.
Everyone else runs, and he goes, why are they running? And then he does like this weird swordplay where like holds the sword at one point and just starts hacking away. But a great night, yeah. That's what was my big worry, was like, I don't think Adam Driver can beat that guy.
Yeah, I don't think so. That was my one thing.
Turned out to be true.
It was true.
Yeah. But Adam Driver, I got to say, better on the horse.
Yeah.
The jousting.
Jousting was good.
He almost killed Matt Damon with the jousting.
He did.
Matt Damon, at one point, he grabs an axe while on the horse, which is... Yeah. It's not a good move.
I definitely want to talk about who played Charles VI. Was that Alex Lothar?
He's a
great actor. He's also in the French.
Yeah, Dispatch. I was just about to say he's the kid who commits suicide. He jumps out of the window when they're talking about he's great. He's a great king because he's kind of weird looking and it looks like he's frail and like most of those kings.
There's a really good show that he's in too, and this is where I first really noticed him. But at the end of the fucking,
I think we talked about it. Yeah. Really good.
It's a really good performance from him from that show.
Yeah, and another thing I like about this film is it's not like it's more of a centralized story. You know, it does involve the king, but very rarely. It's more about just this serfdom of like one small part of France that just happens to be going through some real drama in this place.
Yeah, you could say that.
Yeah. But yeah, that's why I liked it. It's more of a centralized story. You're not even sure who they're fighting throughout the entire thing. Like, who are they at war with? You don't ever even know because that's not part of the story. It's much more small and centralized, where it's just mainly about these guys' pride, and that's That's all what it was in the medieval, and it just got guys killed. Pride just got everyone killed.
I gotta be honest, I did like Pierre though. Ben Affleck's character, I thought he crushed it as the cool guy who was getting laid with the blonde hair and all that.
Coolest guy ever. Did not at all care about sharing his women.
No, he's like, come on in, join.
Take those pants off. What are you doing?
Bro, I got 3 of them in here. I only got 1 dick.
He never wanted to talk about business.
No, he just wanted to fuck.
He would, and that guy was one of the richest barons at the time, and he really was cousins with King George or whatever. But very powerful. But yeah, very cool. And I love the outfits and the costume work is fantastic.
Yes, it is.
It's very realistic.
Detailed. Yeah.
But his weird blonde hair, it's a perfect role for Ben Affleck.
It is.
Who he was originally, they wrote it, and he was originally going to be playing the Adam Driver part.
Oh, really?
Yeah, but scheduling conflicts. He has some movie coming out in 2022 that made him take kind of the back seat in this. But
I liked him as Pierre, though.
I think that's a perfect role for him. Yeah, because I don't know, you either love or hate Ben Affleck.
I don't hate him. I don't get where all the hate comes from.
Well, he's the kind of guy that I love to hate. You know, I like when he's playing kind of an arrogant asshole because that's kind of how he comes off to me in real life. Yeah. But this was a perfect role for him where anytime you saw him, he was fucking someone.
Yeah, he's working on all 3, but they all appear to be in post-production now, obviously. Deep Water.
That's the one,
Flash,
Deep Water.
And Hypnotic.
Yeah, Deep Water was the one that he couldn't...
It's an erotic psychological thriller.
Deep Water, and he's starring in that. That's obviously he wouldn't. Yeah, but yeah, I thought it was great. I thought that end battle scene was awesome. It was so cool, and what a time to be like. And this is the last one we're gonna see people.
Yeah, like, I know. Better enjoy
people
it.
In the trees. Yeah, and you got to think all the duels aren't like that.
No, not that.
They probably end pretty. Like one guy falls off a horse, breaks his neck.
Think about how heavy the swords are, all the armor. Like, those wars don't last.
You gotta see most of the time it ends with the jousting. Yeah. Like you just get a shard in the neck or whatever, and it's over because those poor horses.
I know.
God, I thought the worst of it. They got hacked away. But yeah, I love the whole fight scene. Like I said,
and the death at the end.
It lasts like 20 minutes.
Yeah.
The death is so brutal in the mouth.
Mm-hmm. Well, that's what you get.
Yeah, knife right in the mouth.
Try to kiss someone with that mouth now.
Good job. Yeah, right.
I know, he just brings the knee and brings it in. I was like, that's pretty smart.
That was brutal.
Might be some jiu-jitsu training. I don't know.
Well, that's what Knights did. They used every part of their body.
Yeah.
They really do a good job of, in the movie, The King. Because normally when you see a movie like this, it's not super realistic. It's more like people using the swords, but they don't look like they weigh much, so they're being able to hack like limbs off and stuff. This was a much more realistic portrayal of using every part of the body. But knee to the head while you're down.
Well, there are no refs for kneeing a down
illegal.
opponent.
That is illegal. But that was brutal. And then dragging his body through the town,
and then hanging him upside down naked,
just so everyone could see. Get a good glance at that guy.
Wild to think like your life, like you could be an innocent man, you lose a duel. Not saying he was innocent, but I'm just mean, for all, I guarantee there has been an innocent man who was killed in a duel at some point in world history. And it's just to have your name dragged through the mud because you couldn't win a sword fight is interesting.
Well, my thing was like, poor Ben Affleck. He's like, literally, that was my best friend. Mm-hmm. He's like, he's like my godfather, my kids. And he could have taken the other trial or whatever, and he fucking botched it. And now I'm out a best friend.
Well, and now he's got to do with Jacques or Jean more. Whatever.
Yeah, you got to really. I mean,
who's a sour individual.
Yeah, and it's like you got to rework the whole kingdom. Like who takes his role now? It's a big fuck up.
Can't be Jean, Sir John. No way.
And Matt Damon's character should not have been riding a horse. Right,
post stab. Yeah, that could have hit a femoral artery or something. He could have bled out on the horse.
Infection on some dirty ass medieval.
Yeah, horse that's never been washed. Yeah,
you got to ride 8 hours back to your house?
Yeah, it's incredible that he survived that and then died in the Crusades later on.
That was the crazy part. Yeah, all that, and he was still like, "I'm good. Let's go."
That's crazy.
A guy did not have a good relation with his wife when he was just volunteering to fight constantly. Like. He was never at home. He constantly wanted to fight, but
Yeah, it's just it's wild to think human beings so many centuries ago that was literally their hobby, their life was going to war.
It was your job.
It was just what you did. You know?
Yeah.
It's weird.
It is kind of a sweet gig. I mean, it's tough, but it's like you work, a month or something? A hard fucking month.
Yeah.
Then you get 300 gold pieces and you just party for the rest of the year.
It's true.
Then you gotta go
if you
work.
win.
Oh yeah,
you don't die.
But nights at the time were like the best of the best. You know, very little portion of people were knights. So if you did survive,
you're gonna party hard.
You're making good quiche. Yeah.
Well, and that's the kind of lifestyle that you live one day at a time. So if you want to fucking party as hard as you want, you party as hard as you want because there might not be a tomorrow.
No, and everyone's dying out at like 40 anyway. Yeah. So let's be honest, not dying in the Crusades. The good thing was the wife
lived 30 years afterwards.
Had a very happy life.
Yeah.
Said she was very wealthy.
Yep.
Which is good because she was absolutely Jodie Comer, who plays her, she's fantastic. But
Marguerite de Carouge?
Yeah, she was great in this, but man, she got the worst of everything.
Yeah.
She was just, I mean...
But she got the best of everything at the end because she was rich, didn't have to deal with no man for 30 years. Did get raped,
which probably caused psychological trauma.
Absolutely. But, you know, all things considering the time, she made it out better than most.
But your son, who's most likely the son of the guy who raped you, who's now hanging in the square, you got to walk past him every single day.
That's true. That's unfortunate.
It's a tough life.
Yeah, that's tough.
No wonder she never fucking married after that.
No, I wouldn't either.
You're not going to marry it. You're not going to find a guy back then who's just super cool and doesn't beat you or rapes you or something like that.
So it's like, I'm actually fine. My husband died. Life has been pretty good for me.
Yeah, rich widow.
Yeah, no problem.
No probs at all. Absolutely. But I liked it.
As did I. I like this film quite a bit. This may be a potential discussion for a top 10 this year.
Yeah.
We'll be doing it at the end of January. I know I plugged it in the last video. I'm going to plug it here as well.
It is lost around, I think, 70 million. They're going to say it's lost around 100 million because of the limited advertising that they actually did. Yeah. But
so the budget was 100 million and it's only done 30. So yeah,
that's the thing about historical epics. Very expensive to make.
Well, very expensive, but if you really put advertising behind this, people love medieval films. I look forward to every
there's not
single
enough
one.
of them.
The Northman. I cannot fucking wait for that.
Yeah, there's definitely not enough of them anymore. Especially the ones that are done right, like this one. There's a ton of them that are done
half-assed,
fantasy-esque, and they look bad. And
the sword playing is,
and then they add CGI or the story or something. It's just, but this one was really good. But man, did they botch it? Yeah. And who knows? This could be Ridley Scott's last historical film. You know,
unfortunately.
I don't know how many production companies are going to give him another chance after losing 100 minutes. It is the big. It's up there with the biggest flop of the year.
Yeah, well, I think it might be.
Yeah, I know, which is very sad. If anything, House of Gucci should have been a bigger flop in my opinion.
If it wasn't such a big name, and see, that's the thing. They advertised the fuck out of that film.
House of Gucci too, wasn't it? What was the budget for that? I feel like it was at least 100 million.
It was a lot. Yeah. Yeah, the House of Gucci.
Which is insane that they did the House of Gucci for the same amount of money that they did this for. I want to say it was close to 100 million.
So the budget for this was $75 million.
Over House of Gucci?
Yeah, which is still a lot of money. It's only $25 million less than The Last Duel.
Yeah, than making a film set in 15th century France. Right. But yeah, I would recommend it. You can rent it right now. You can't go and see it in theaters. I wish I would have seen this in theaters on the big screen because this is a film that deserves it for sure. But
it does.
You won't see it now.
Nope, definitely won't.
And never will be back in theaters. I guarantee that.
I can guarantee that as well.
Not a second release on this one, unfortunately. But I wonder if there is a Ridley Scott director's cut out there somewhere.
I'd love to watch it.
I'd love to watch a 3-hour version of this. This was 2 hours.
2.5 hours.
2.5 hours already.
153 minutes.
But I think I could watch another half an hour of this.
It'd be nice.
It would be nice. All right, that's all I got.
All right, well, that is our review for The Last Duel. If you guys like what you've seen here, please be sure to smash that like button, comment below, subscribe to the channel, and hit that bell notification as we drop videos here every single day. Thank you so much for watching and listening. My name is Mason Knight. That is Cash Krause, and until next time.
Bye.